So, let's talk about depression. So, if you're watching this video, you may be experiencing some signs of depression, or you may think that you're depressed. Maybe you're clinically depressed. Maybe you've been diagnosed. Maybe you're just feeling down and you kind of diagnosed yourself as the term depressed. Now, this is a controversial topic, so if you're not into hearing controversial opinions, then I suggest you click off this video, because I think I'm going to be quite controversial throughout this video, and if you're not prepared to hear these things, then I'd rather not hurt your feelings. But if you're open to interpretation, if you're open to external opinions that may be controversial, like I said before, then keep on watching this video. Not too sure on how short I can make this video. I do want to touch on the topic and expand on certain things, but primarily I'll be looking at one tactic in particular that may help you with your depression. So, what is this particular tactic that I'm talking about now? Well, I'll try and get into it straight away. The tactic that I want to discuss is cold exposure. You may have heard of cold exposure before. You may have seen some people talk about it, or heard some podcasts, or maybe you're into listening to Joe Rogan. He talks about it quite a lot. Maybe you've heard of a character called Wim Hof. So if you have heard of a couple of these things, then that's good. You have some knowledge on it already. But if you have not heard of cold exposure before, or if you haven't heard of any of these people that I've named, then let me expand a little bit on what I mean and those people that I've mentioned. So let me start with Wim Hof. He's an older guy. I think he's in his 60s now. He suffered from depression for the majority of his adulthood, and that was all because his wife committed suicide and she jumped off a building, plummeted to the earth, and basically killed herself. She left him with a couple of children. Can't remember how many, 2 or 3 children, and he was quite depressed, and that was all a result of his wife's depression. Obviously, now he's left with 2 or 3 children, and he has to take care of them. It is really difficult to take care of someone when you are depressed, and when you have to take care of someone, you don't have that much energy left to take care of yourself. Now, what Wim Hof discovered is that cold exposure is very beneficial, and let me tell you how he discovered just that. He was walking along and he was just drawn to the lake or river that was nearby his residence, and he got undressed and he climbed into this river or lake. I can't remember which one exactly it was, and he started battling the cold. So the initial response when you step into cold water is you start hyperventilating, because you're trying to manage all of this cold. Maybe you've tried to take a cold shower before. When you put the cold water over yourself, you're like, your heart is racing. You're trying to manage this cold. Maybe you're getting a brain freeze. Wim Hof said this is not the way to do it, and it isn't. This isn't the way to do it. You should not hyperventilate when you're exposed to cold. What you should do on the opposite side is you should manage your breathing. Slow it down. Slow, controlled, deep breaths. Slow, rhythmic, deep breaths. So this is what he discovered. Climbed into this water, severely depressed. His wife has just committed suicide. He He has to take care of his children. He can't do so because he's depressed. So his depression was pretty much gone as soon as he stepped out of the water. I know this sounds very strange and bizarre, but it is true. I have experienced it firsthand. I cannot say that I was depressed. I was never clinically depressed, never diagnosed, but when I am in a bad mood, when I'm upset with something, cold exposure helps me tremendously. Now, if it helped Wim Hof, if it helped me, my dad has practiced this for quite some time now. I think I've been practicing it for the past maybe 8 years now. And I have quite a bit of experience, so I can talk about this subject quite openly and in some depth. I'm going to try and keep it simple, but yeah, I seen my dad. He was taking cold showers, and it kind of intrigued me when I was a teenager. I just thought that I'll try it myself. And what I noticed from the very first cold shower that I took, that my mood was just so much better. It was like endorphins flowing through my body. And one thing that I could not stop thinking about, you cannot think about anything while you are in the cold water. When the cold water is hitting your skin, there's nothing that you can think about. All you can think about is, oh my god, this water is so cold. That's all that pretty much runs through your brain. That's all. How cold it is. Oh my god. I'm just trying to survive here. That's all you're thinking about. So, I'll tell you the principle behind this. So let's say you have depression, or so you call it, depression. You haven't been diagnosed. Maybe you have, in the worst case scenario. I wouldn't really trust doctors in this way too, because doctors like to diagnose people with depression and then give them medications. It's just what doctors do these days. But the cold should be your doctor. The best doctor in the whole world is the cold. Not only with depression, there are so many things that the cold can help you with, but in this video, I'll just focus on depression and feeling down, self-diagnosis of depression. When you step into the cold water, you cannot think about anything. So basically, let's say you have 10 thoughts that are very negative and they're bothering you. You seem to just not be able to deal with your thoughts. Your mind is overactive. You're in a bad state. Now, if you build up the courage to go into your shower or your bath, run a cold bath, set it on the very, very coldest setting, just run that water in your bath, or just put it on the coldest setting in your shower, just turn on the tap and let the cold water flow right on top of your head. You are not able to think about anything. The only thing you can think about is how cold the water is, because it's really hard to manage the pain. It's not even pain, it's just the uncomfortable feeling of cold water. Now, you may get a little bit of a brain freeze, but it's all fine. It's not dangerous. Unless you have some severe heart condition, maybe then I don't recommend doing it. But if your heart is all in check, you can take every single word that I say and, apply it to your condition, So you have 10 problems. You step into the shower, you run the cold water all over your head. You do that for around 2 minutes. You turn off your shower, you step out. Now, the initial feeling you're going to feel is your endorphins, your dopamine levels, they're going to be way up. They're going to be definitely higher than what you started with. Now, one other thing that you're going to notice is the 10 thoughts that you had before, you can't remember every single thought that you had. And let me tell you why. Because you gave your brain a little bit of a break from thinking about these negative thoughts, now you forgot some of them. You forgot like 5 or 6 thoughts. Now you're left with 4, maybe 3. That's all you're left with. So if you think about it, you would just decrease your depression by 70%. Now you can actually go about life and actually do something. Imply some changes in your life. 70%. Not 10, not 20, but 70% of your depression is gone just because you went to a cold shower once for 2 minutes. It may seem too good to be true, but trust me, it is not. It is not too good to be true. It's just as good as it sounds. So if you just build up a little bit of courage, I believe you can do that. I believe you can build up just a little bit of courage, a little bit of motivation. Step into that cold shower and just try it out. That's all I can say. Just try it out. If you're not convinced by just me talking about it, just type into YouTube Wim Hof. Listen to him speak for 10 minutes. Hopefully he can convince you, because, he has a lot more practice with this subject. He has actual first-hand evidence because he was severely depressed. His wife killed himself. I never even had a wife. I haven't gone through such hardship like this person has. So I can only speak from my experience that I've had. So hopefully you can build up a little bit of courage, step into that cold shower and make it a habit. Now that you've done it once, you can do it twice. You can do it 3 times. You can do it 10 times. You can make this a routine. Get a little chart or make a little, rip out a piece of paper from your notebook or your copybook or anything. Just write it down anywhere and kind of go for a little streak. See how many days in a row you can go for a cold shower. Now, one of my friends, when he figured out that cold is just absolutely amazing, I believe he went over a year. Just every single day he was going to cold showers. And this is quite impressive because it builds up such severe discipline in your brain that other tasks will be just so much easier, because now you have that discipline to do the right thing. Because taking a cold shower, I'll be honest with you, it's not easy. It's not going to be very easy. But for the start, what you can do, have a warm shower, and to finish off your warm shower, do 2 or 3 minutes of cold. If you can't do 2 minutes, do a minute, do half a minute. Do whatever you can. Do any amount of time. Now, my advice will be that you do at least half a minute. Don't go less than half a minute. Count down, do a little countdown. Be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and count to 30. If you can do more, brilliant. Do more. But if you can't, then half a minute will just do. So make it a habit. Build up that discipline. Get rid of your depression. And I'm pretty sure after the first time that you take a cold shower, the benefits will speak for themselves and you will make it a habit. I know you will. So that's pretty much it on cold exposure. I'll make videos in the future about similar topics. I'll also talk about the sauna because it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. Hopefully you can apply this to your life. Hopefully, taking my advice will kind of help you with your depression. Hopefully it will help you if you don't think you're depressed, or you're just feeling down all of a sudden, or let's say your dopamine levels are just not as high. Take my advice and apply it, and hopefully it's going to help you. Now, that's kind of it for this video. If you enjoyed listening to me talk, then hit the like button. If you want to see similar videos, then hit the subscribe button. And if you want to see some kind of different video, maybe you are interested in similar topics, comment down below on what you'd like to see, and I'll try my best to make a video just suited to your needs. So I suppose that's the end. Peace.